if we're looking at managers, I just have to, before I go into the three that are kind of candidates mainly, but you have to look at Barnabas Varga for Hungary. And who's his coach? Ferencváros, Robbie Keane. And the difference, I was doing a podcast the other day with the Hungarian football podcast, and Tom had said to me that Robbie Keane has really improved him as a striker. And his goals, scored against us, scored 2 against Portugal last night. It's no surprise that he's gone up in levels. Robbie Keane's won leagues. He's one to consider, I would say. And then you go past Robbie Keane, because I'm only have to pull on Robbie Keane out of my head there. You've got Damien Duff, Stephen Bradley, Roy Keane are other ones that you would like. The only one there that's not a Republic of Ireland legend is Stephen Bradley. Yeah. So of maybe the 4, I'd say, rather than the 3, there's cases for them all.
I completely agree.
So who would you make the best case for, and what would be your opinion be on the others?
Who would I make the best case for? I can't see Roy Keane taking it, I'll be honest. I can't. He just doesn't seem... I watched the overlap that he's on. He just doesn't seem really interested in going back into the managerial scene. Obviously, if Ireland come knocking, that's a whole different story.
They did before, yeah.
Yeah, exactly, yeah. I'd say Stephen Bradley has the best case. I think he's proven it time and time again with Shamrock Rovers. You see them in the European draw in pot 2. That says a lot. He's after getting that Shamrock Rovers League of Ireland team. People want to talk bad about the League of Ireland and the managers. He's after getting that Shamrock Rovers team into a genuine European side that are challenging big clubs. Just be Santa Clara. I think he's a fantastic manager. I think he deals really well with young players. He develops players into new positions. And I think his managerial style suits Ireland. I really do. It would break my heart. I'd probably shed a tear. Not probably. I'd definitely shed a tear the day that he leaves Rovers. But if it's to live to manage a national team, I think he's the man. Now, the first thing people will say is, Stephen Kenny before didn't go well as an Ireland manager. I mean, are we going to hold on to that forever? I think it's so silly. But the other candidates you mentioned, Keane, Duff, and obviously Roy Keane as well. I'll be happy with any of them, to be honest with you. But Bradley will be my pick. What about yourself?
Yeah, well, I just hate the whole inexperienced shout. All inexperienced at this, inexperienced. Stephen Bradley's experienced in Europe. Yeah. 3 of the last 4 years, am I right in saying that?
Group stage?
Yeah. And he's won 5 of the last 6 leagues, I think.
4 of the last 5.
Sorry, but he'll win this year. And
exactly.
That's what I mean. Sorry.
Yeah.
So that'll be 5 of 6 when he win. When Rovers inevitably win it this year,
yeah,
which they will.
The last 6, yeah.
I know you're a Rovers fan, you won't admit it, but they're on course to win it, and they're coasting. Let's be honest, and they've the best squad because he developed that squad. Also, you look at a lot of the players that are in the squad. I know Mal, our good friend from the show, put up a photo the other day of a lot of Shamrock Rovers players that are now internationals. Liam Scales, Gavin Bazzoon, and Josh Honohan. There's one more I think there I might be missing. But there was about 4 or 5 of them.
I think so. I think it was 5. Yeah.
And so there wouldn't be an issue there. He would have developed a lot of them and brought them in. So there's him. There's Damien Duff, who coached at Celtic, coached at Ireland. He's coached underage level in the country. He understands from the grassroots up. He's won the league with Shelbourne most recently, but he did walk out on Shell. So that's the only black mark against him, is that he walked out. Mm-hmm. Other than that, he's experienced coaching at Celtic. He's experienced coaching at Shelbourne. I keep on referencing Craig Bellamy here at Wales, I really like the way he speaks as a Welsh coach. He's not afraid of anyone, and he likes to back them. I think Duff would be similar. But Craig Bellamy didn't have experience of managing a team previously. He's a coach at Anderlecht, and he's coached at Burnley. Celtic is a bigger club than both of them. I don't care what anyone says. They are. They're a much bigger club, and he's had experience at League of Ireland, which isn't what everyone's saying. But to say that he's inexperienced doesn't make sense, because he's played at the top level for Chelsea when Chelsea were in their pomp. He won leagues with them, done well in Europe, scored in Champions League semi-finals against Barcelona. Damien Duff was one of the best players this country's ever produced. So he would command respect straight away with that. Then obviously the fact that he's coached at Celtic. Then obviously the fact that he's won stuff in the League of Ireland as well. So I just don't understand this whole inexperienced thing when you look at Craig Bellamy getting the job. And Wales have done that a few times, bringing players or bringing managers through that didn't have experience. You know, Gary Speed, I'm sure, was one as well. God rest him. But I hate that inexperienced show. I just think that's nonsense. There is another element of the Roy Keane with Duff as his assistant. That could make sense. But I do think people forget about the way the O'Neill era ended so badly, so toxic. And Keane was one of the main factors of that. I love Roy Keane. I think he's brilliant on the overlap. I think he's so funny. I'd happily want him to stay on there, just be the brilliant, funny pundit that he is. I think he's really good on Sky. I don't think there's a need for him to come back. People will go, oh, but you need someone to give them a kick up the ass. Football doesn't work that way, and footballers are very precious these days. You can't say a word about them or they hate you.
Exactly.
Keane done that, but we know that firsthand. But, you know, if Keane was to go in there and say that, and then if Keane was to say anything, people would be going mad. And like, many times he's slaughtered the, you know, English players playing for Ireland, saying you're not even Irish. Like he said,
and then he's going to go into the dressing room with them same players. Yeah.
Exactly, as the main coach there, you know. Yeah. And I hear a lot of the stories of when he was Sunderland coach, when he'd keep them in 3 hours after the game and just go back over all the mistakes they made and just screaming at them and stuff like that. That's not what we need. He might have mellowed down now in recent times, but I think if you had him and Duff, maybe. I think Duff is the main man. I don't think Duff wants to be someone's side piece in this scenario now that he's been, you know, a manager and he's won things and he's a good manager. Like, I know people don't want to admit that because they don't like how brash he was and stuff like that, but Damien Duff was box office. They say Roy Keane is box office. I think Duff he wouldn't be afraid to call it out as well. But then for me there's an argument of Robbie Keane. I think the only black mark he has is that he coached in Israel, and a lot of fans won't get past that. So that's his black mark. So the only one probably there that doesn't have a black mark of the whole lot of them is Stephen Bradley. But then people will say the League of Ireland is his black mark.
Well, so he's had issues with the FAI then as well, Stephen Bradley has.
Yeah, but he was interviewed for the job previously. He said he would take the job. If Rovers won a fifth league in November, the campaign ends in November, you then have a coach who has, in my opinion, delighted to see that Josh has got the all clear from council, but that was stopping Stephen from going to that next step as a manager. He's got the all clear now. If Rovers win that fifth league, I don't think there's anything more he needs to achieve, unless Rovers are going to go past Christmas in the European stages like they did last year. I don't see any reason for him to stay on there. I know you'll want him to as a Rovers fan, but from his legacy to elevate himself to go forward, I think there's an argument for him to be the Ireland manager, and something that he should really consider if it goes that far. I definitely think. I don't know what you think on that one, but that's my case for all of them. I think they all have a black mark, but I mean, who doesn't? Hamer had a black mark. He was a dentist. Everyone's black mark against him. You know what I mean? So
he was a dentist. Now look, it would break my heart as a Rovers fan, but I'd be selfish to say, oh yeah, I want Stephen Bradley to turn down the Ireland job if he gets offered it and stay here. Like you said, he's at this point, when we inevitably win this fifth of the last 6 league titles, what more has he got to do? Yeah, look, I don't know. I think that the stars are lining up here for Bradley. I think he deserves it as well. I think he's more than earned this. But I'll be honest with you, I'll be happy with Duff as well. I completely agree. I don't think Duff is an assistant anymore. I think Duff's the main man. I think if you bring Duff in, it has to be as head coach. I don't think he has an assistant personality anymore. You touched on it there, his career. I mean, people don't seem to fully understand this. The Shelbourne team that Duff won the league with should not have won the league.
You're saying that respectably.
Exactly.
Well, yeah. I know.
Completely respectably, because that shows that Duff is a developmental coach. He didn't just go and buy loads of players or take over a squad that was already strong.
He developed a few and sold them on. Gavin Malloy and Will Jarvis and all of these. He did bring them in and sell them on.
Exactly.
Jack Moylan.
Exactly. And I think having a coach like that is really important. And people will say what they want about Bradley and Rovers, money, all that crap. He's another coach that develops players. Josh Honan brought him as a centre-back from Cork. He's now one of the best wing backs in the Europa Conference League.
Scales Bazunu.
Man, I mean, Danny Grant, right winger on the bench for Bows, brings him in. He's a great right wing back, starting in European games. He's done it with so many players. So I really, really like the Duff and the Bradley show. I'd be happy with either one. Sad to see Bradley go, but I'd be delighted for him. If he goes, of course, yeah. But honestly, I don't really see any other options.
What would be your take on Robbie Keane?
I don't know, because I haven't really watched Fern. Go on, I'll let you say. Ferencváros. I haven't really watched them, so I'm not really sure on maybe his style of management or the style of play that his teams play. But look, he's an Irish legend. And any Irish legend that comes in would make me happy, to be honest. You touched on Craig Bellamy going into the Wales camp. So why can't we bring an Irish legend in? You know, and I mean, I think players like Evan Ferguson, Adam Ida, Troy Parrott when he's back fit, I think they develop really well under Robbie Keane. I mean, they would have looked up to him when they were growing up. You know.
But so, I also spoke with Varga for Hungary, how much he's developed under him.
Yeah.
You know, he's scoring against Hungary, he scored against us.
Scored against
Scored
against Portugal for Hungary, yeah.
Yeah, sorry, for Hungary, yeah. And then you've got, you know, he's part of their, like, he wasn't doing well previously. He wasn't like the top dog that he is now since Robbie Keane's been coaching him. So
exactly.
That shows, and he's nearly 30 or whatever. So I think that shows what a coach he could be. And obviously the fact is they'd all respect Robbie Keane in the camp because of, you know, a record goal scorer. I know he's a very popular figure within the team when he was there under Mick as well. And then obviously he got kind of shepherded out when Kenny came in. So I know. Look, and I spoke to Harry Redknapp as well about Keane, and he was saying, like, I can't believe he's not a manager. And then he got the job in Maccabi Tel Aviv, and then he did whatever there. And I think that's going to follow him everywhere he goes now, unfortunately, for him, because I think he could actually be a good manager for Ireland. But I think, is it one of those things where if he did get the job, could fans move away from the fact that he was managing there? If we win a couple of games, would they forget about that, or would that always be a black stain on his record no matter what he does? And that's just something that I suppose Keane and his representatives and the FAI would have to sort that out, because I don't know how, like, it's a touchy subject. It's a sensitive one, you know what I mean, because of obviously everything that's going on over there and all of that. But he obviously has gone out, he went out and got away from it, but in some people's eyes that's probably too little too late without getting into politics. Yeah, no,
100%. Look, it's like you said, it's a sensitive subject, so there's not much to really say on that. I mean, let's say this did come to fruition, and he, like, there was rumours of him becoming the Irish national team head coach. That would have, maybe have to come with a public statement and an explanation. I don't know. But me personally, I think that the fans would never let that go. Then maybe you see a disconnect between the fans and the team, and it would just, I think you're taking a risk, aren't you? With Robbie Keane. So I think you look at the other candidates, to be honest. But if you looking at all them candidates, right? So you've kind of touched on it there and broke them down individually. If you had to pick one, who would you go for?
It's very difficult. I'm torn between Bradley and Duff, to be honest with you. I really am. My only thing with Duff is obviously he's fallen out with the FAI previously.
Yeah.
And I'd just be afraid that he'd walk away if he's not afraid to walk away. Similar to Roy Keane in Saipan, he wouldn't be afraid to walk away if he felt like he was being disrespectful. And I understand he stands up for himself and all of that. I think the safest option, and, you know, money wise, would probably be Stephen Bradley. But I know what Stephen Bradley's achieved in League of Ireland football and what he's done and the stuff he's had to face with his child at the same time as managing a team and doing what he's done is unbelievable, really. Yeah. Like, and I'm a big fan of Stephen. Like, people know I'm a Shells fan, but ultimately at the end of the day, I'm unbiased in that aspect where I'll say he's been an unbelievable manager. Didn't start out great for him, but he had a good team around him. He's gotten experience along the way. He's experienced in Europe. Tactically, he's very good. He knows how to set a team up quite well. So there is that aspect to it. But people are deluded if they think that they're going to get a top level manager like Mourinho or something like that. Mourinho wouldn't get a tune out of these players anyway. He'd fall out with them. But my point being is that The FAI do not have the finances to fund a manager of that sort of
caliber.
without someone coming in and backing it. Like Dennis O'Brien used to fund Martin O'Neill and Roy Keane. That's when we had like them involved, and they got us to a Euros, and you know that was the last tournament we were in, and we've not looked anywhere near like qualifying for time. Even though we all thought we were going to in this one, but yeah, I can't choose between the two. I want to, but I can't really.
You'd be happy with either one, basically.
Yeah. But I'd probably just edge it. Excuse me. I'd probably just edge it, Stephen Bradley,
for the longevity.
I just think it would make if on both sides it would actually make a lot of sense. He gets to spend more time with his family.
Yeah.
And it's not day to day. It's not every single, even though I still think he would work day to day because that's just the way he is. I think he'd have more time with his family. I think it would all, as you said earlier, the stars could align with that one. I think.
Yeah.
But I wouldn't be unhappy if Duff got it as well. I mean, I love Damien Duff for what he's done for Shelburne. He brought back glory days. Shells are now in Europe, and a large part of that was because of him. Huge respect to Joey O'Brien. What he's done, came in and steadied the ship. But what Duff did from when Shells got promoted, they had no right. Cup final, European football the next season, win the league the third season, and the way and the manner and the talk and the euphoria around the league when he was involved in it, like, you can't take that away from it either. But I do think if you take off every hat that you have and you look at it kind of between the two, I wouldn't be unhappy. But I think they're the most realistic candidates financially that we could get.
Yeah, I completely agree. And I wouldn't be unhappy with either.
Yeah.
Genuinely.
Yeah, well, anyway, we'll leave it at that because we're kind of lost at this stage. We're out of the World Cup after 2 games.